Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sascha Fahrbach. With Poland's lower house of parliament set to vote on the so-called safe defense loan proposed by the European Union, Poland's President Karol Nawrocki is calling for what he describes as a calm and honest debate, raising concerns about conditionality, transparency, and the risk of suspended funds. Now, the government insists the program strengthens sovereignty through a stronger army and alliances, while the opposition urges caution and even suggests looking elsewhere for alternatives. And we are now joined by Piotr Kaczyński from the University of Warsaw to discuss it all further. Good to have you back in the studio.
Good to be back. Yeah.
All right, so there's a lot of money at stake here. Safe, this is 150 billion. Poland is going to receive the lion's share, would receive that in terms of a loan. But tell us in your take, where do we get to now? How do we get to this quagmire? Why does the president have a problem with it? What's next in your mind?
Look, it's very difficult to put it in the logical mind because this is not really a logical debate right now. On the one side, you have this big and cheap money. This is very important. It's a cheap money to spend for the defense equipment in Poland and somewhere else in Europe, whatever the Polish army needs, whatever is possible within the next 4 years. And on the other side, there's no rational argument against it, because even if you look at those arguments that President Nawrocki is putting on the table or Law and Justice is putting on the table, it's not against the SAFE, but it is just small details about how SAFE will work. For example, it works only 4 years. It may be there's a conditionality potentially, which is probably a problem, maybe not in the future. So what are we talking about?
But at the same time, the president has raised this. You think that it's not warranted enough. I mean, this has obviously been very much part of the political debate in these last weeks. Let's go also in terms of what happens next, because right now we have part of the parliament that's already essentially passed this through on the Polish segment, and now we're waiting on Friday for this next vote. Is there any way that that could not go through on the vote, or if it does go through, will there be a presidential veto?
Well, of course, there's just the procedural steps. The parliament, the lower chamber voted it through, then the Senate voted it through with minor changes, and now it's back to the lower chamber. So the lower chamber will complete its procedures by the end of the week, and then the president is asked what to do with it. The government is saying, even if you're going to veto it, we're going to do it anyways. So what the government is saying, with this bill, we have some rules about internal transparency, how to spend those money. So President Nawrocki effectively should sign it, probably, if he is rational.
Do you see this as a kind of, let's say, strong sort of, let's say, rhetoric to debate this further? Does he want this to be changed somehow? I mean, is there a want? Is this just a complete no, he's against this?
We'll see what the president does, because clearly we have a change of, let's say, narrative over the past 24 hours, even that it's softening. The message coming from the presidential palace has been softening. So maybe Karol Nawrocki is going to sign it at the end of the day, because rationally, and he is asking for a calm debate. Rationally, there is very, very little against this program. Effectively, it's very cheap money coming your way to spend on things that you want to spend as a country.
And looking also, you mentioned this now, it's very cheap money. I mean, it is a loan. If we look back a little bit in history, if you can tell us, I mean, there have been also other loans. If we're looking at other purchases of defense equipment under the previous government, South Korea, for instance, I'm wondering, I mean, is this European part, is this worse? Is it better? And how does that factor into all this?
Look, clearly the current debate about the SAFE program, it's cheaper money than the loan that the previous Polish government had to buy the South Korean defense equipment a couple of years ago. But effectively, we have had other programs with loans. For example, this recovery fund, which is still a very big topic here in Poland, and for a couple of years it was blocked because of rule of law issues in Poland, between Poland and Brussels. So just a little bit of why Law and Justice is a little bit against this is because they have a memory of how it was working or not working when they were in the government.
Yeah, and on that, I mean, we mentioned this before, conditionality. So this, for those not in the know, for the audience, again, this is tied together with European Union connection. So how, let's say, if this is brought up as a concern, how real is that risk at this point in your assessment?
The risk is minimal, but what is this conditionality you're asking? The issue here is anybody who's giving you money doesn't want that money to be taken away in a corrupt mode. You want that money to be spent properly, and then you're gonna make whatever interest on it. But you do not want to support corruption, and this conditionality is precisely about this. Conditionality, EU conditionality, is to safeguard that whatever money comes to, let's say, government in Warsaw, government in Budapest, or government in Madrid, that they are not being taken over by some shady businesses of people who have, let's say, zero history in defense, and suddenly they are given billions of euros to do whatever because they are friends with a minister or a bureaucrat here or there.
Mm-hmm. There's also, I want to gauge your view here on public opinion, and there was a few polls run also by Rzeczpospolita, one of the papers here, one of the main papers in Poland, where the public is very much supportive of this loan. So how much is that going to weigh in on any sort of decision the president makes?
Look, the Polish pundits are putting it this way. The fact that big majority of polls are showing that the Polish public is supportive of the program indicates that probably Karol Nawrocki, the president, is not going to veto it because he's looking for 50%. And the biggest argument of people against SAFE that has some merits is about the loan itself, that this is taking a loan against future generations who will have to return the favor. But that argument is not resonating with the Polish public at all. It's hardly ever resonating anywhere in the world. So only a few really conservative, libertarian economists are saying you have to spend as much as you have, not more.
Mm-hmm. I think also one of the issues here that's been brought up by President Nawrocki and some of the, let's say, more conservative bench of things is that this, what it provides is that it must include European procurement, right? There must be a majority of European players involved. So twofold question. One, does Poland have that capacity? I mean, there's been a resurgence in that. I mean, the question is, can it deliver if there is that kind of investment? And secondly, this idea of where else would these kind of procurement deals come from if there isn't enough from Poland? What are those realistic partners?
Absolutely. So this money is also to strengthen the capacity of the Polish defense companies, but also to look elsewhere if those companies are not providing what is needed. And then when you look elsewhere, you look predominantly first among Europeans. So the biggest, if you like, criticism out there, we had a small discussion between September last year and today, who and whose equipment should count as if in SAFE, and apparently Americans are out. So you cannot buy American equipment with the money from the European Union right now from SAFE, and this might be a small argument out there, but at the end of the day, you have a big factories inside of Poland that the money is going there instead of somewhere in Alabama. Mm-hmm. So if you have that kind of, let's say, question out there, where to spend this money, in Poland or in Alabama, to procure and to develop this equipment, I think the question is quite easy to answer.
Really super quick. I mean, there is also this bit of information. I think this is coming from actually a former law and justice official somewhere, I think in the European, in Brussels. And the idea was exactly this, that there's actually this argument that they want to actually have American money do this, as the Americans provide some sort of alternative. How realistic is that?
Well, where is this American money? I mean, look, where is American money going to Ukraine? Where is American money going around the world? Americans have no problem supporting a regime regime in Argentina, for example, with billions. They have no problems going into Venezuela to make money. They will support their super long allies like Israel, but fresh money? Question mark.
All right, so question mark. Well, vote will be very soon, and we'll see what the president will do. But thanks for all that. Always having you here is a pleasure. Piotr Kaczyński there from Warsaw University in the studio. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for watching. That concludes World Talks. But stay right here on TVP World for more. Goodbye.